prevalent, perhaps in the lands of the Muslimin. And we have things, as we mentioned, you have things that the people they come with, from that which we know, from the things that these people invent, because of them due to them being bankrupt from proofs and evidences. He said, أخذوها من النصارى واليهود ومن الروافض. Those matters that they've taken from the Nasara, the Jews and the Christians, and from the Rawafid. وَجَمْعُوا هَذِهِ الْبِدْعَ. And they gather these innovative matters. And they say of the Manashid Islamiyya. He said, يعني لعب بالدين. These individuals are playing with the religion, playing with the Ummah. فيخترعون أشياء كثيرة ليحشدوا الأتباع حولهم. They invent these matters, ikhwan, to gather followers. Now, والله لا يهدونهم إلى طريق الأنبياء. And he said, by Allah, they do not guide them to the path of the Anbiya. Now, and it shows the Ikhwani, they're accepting of everyone. You find the Ikhwanis, they're accepting of everyone except the people of the Sunnah. So he says, الذي يدخل معهم في تنظيمهم. Who are those who enter amongst them, amongst the Ikhwan, amongst their ranks? You find the Rafida, who's mustamir, who's persistent in his rafd. You find the Sufi Quburi, the one who supplicates to the graves, and those inside the graves. And he said, likewise, they even might open their doors to the Nasara. Nah. بل فتحوها لهم. But rather they have opened their doors to the Nasara, which is known from the ways of the Ikhwan al-Muslimin. ولا يدعونهم إلى الإسلام. They open their doors to these individuals, they don't call them to Islam. They let them remain upon their dalal. He says, al-muhim, so that which is important you find amongst them, all they have is hashd al-nas. They want to gather the people around them. لِيَصِلُوا إِلَى الْمُلْكِ. Why? They want to gather great numbers to achieve rulership. To achieve rulership, this is the way of the Ikhwan al-Muslimin. لِيَصِلُوا إِلَى مَطَالِبِ الدُّنْيَوِيَّةِ السَّاقِطَةِ. In order to arrive to those affairs of the dunya, those lowly affairs of the dunya, that has no wazn عند Allah Azza wa Jal. Now, and this is Ikhwan again. This is where we find the people, those who claim Salafiyya, the claimants of Salafiyya, and in reality their manhaj is the manhaj of the Ikhwan al-Muslimin. You find that they're quiet about the Sufiya who are in their masajid. Sufiya, they come to their masajid, they're quiet. You find the Asha'ira. You find some of them, they make munawaba. They yatanawabu ma'al Asha'ira. They take turns on Jum'ah with the Asha'ira. And their masajid. Quiet, you don't hear anything. You don't hear anything from them. Now, they're quiet about the people of innovation, ya ikhwan. They're quiet about the people of innovation, those who have major innovations, major mukhalafats in the affairs of aqidah. But at the same time, they're vocal against the Salafis. Ikhwan, take this as a rule. If you find someone having no concern of the Islamic aqidah, whether the Islamic aqidah is assaulted, and whether people, they diminish the Islamic aqidah, and they're quiet about that, ya ikhwan, then wash your hands from these individuals. Anytime you find a person, they have no concern of the Islamic aqidah, ya ikhwan, they allow the Sufi, those who allow al-istighath bi ghayrillah, those who allow seeking refuge besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who allow going to the graves of who they consider to be awliya, the Asha'ira, those who deny the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, many of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These individuals, if you find those individuals, ikhwan, if you find those who claim Salafiyya but they work with these individuals and they're quiet upon these individuals, ikhwan, then wash your hands with these individuals. Anyone who doesn't have a clear concern of the Islamic aqidah, ikhwan, wash your hands with these individuals. Even to the point, some of them, when it's time to call the nation of Islam, and we all know the kufr of the nation of Islam. Now, Even when it comes to the affairs of the nation of Islam, ya akhwan. And you find some people, they say he gave them da'wah. These people, they must not know what da'wah is, whoever says that he gave them da'wah. They don't know what da'wah is. When did he ever address their false belief in this individual, Fard Muhammad? Or that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came in the form of a black man. This is kufr and ilhad. This is worse than the belief of the Jews and Christians. Worse than the belief of the Jews and Christians, akhwan. When did he address that Elijah Muhammad is a Dajjal? Not a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not a messenger. When did he address that? He didn't address these affairs, akhwan. He never mentioned these affairs. Showing, akhwan, these individuals, they have no concern with the aqeedah of Islam. They have no concern. Anybody you find like this, look at Kitab al-Tawheed, ya akhwan. How the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we find from the chapters how he did what? How he protected Janab al-Tawheed. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he protected the affair of Tawheed. Not only did the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam call to Tawheed, not only did the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam warn from shirk, but the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he warned from those wasa'il and those means that may lead to shirk. He warned from those wasa'il that may lead to shirk. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he protected the Janab al-Tawheed. Now, in many affairs, the Prophet ﷺ, he forbade what? Al-ghulu. That people go to extremes in him. Why? Because this is that which led the Nasara to what? To making shirk. When they went to extremes, and Isa ibn Maryam. The Prophet ﷺ, he forbade that. La tatruni. Kama asrat al-Nasara Isa ibn Maryam. Don't go to extremes regarding me. As the Nasara they did with Isa ibn Maryam. Innama ana Abdullah wa Rasuluh. I'm only a servant of Allah and His Messenger. Let's say this of me, servant of Allah and His Messenger. The Prophet ﷺ, he forbade praying when the sun rises and when the sun sets. Why? Why, ikhwan? As not to resemble those who worship the sun at those times. Even if a person is worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he forbade that. Saddan lidhari'a. Saddan lidhari'a. Blocking off all paths of shirk, ya ikhwan. Blocking off all paths of shirk. The Prophet ﷺ, he forbids that a person says, MashaAllah wa shit. Whatever Allah wills and whatever you will. The Prophet ﷺ said what? Say MashaAllah wahdahu. Say what Allah wills alone. No, I'm blocking the path of shirk, ya akhwan. So when you have people, they don't have a care of whether the people of Sufi come into their masjid, whether the Jama'at al-Tabligh come in their masjid, whether Farah Khan and these kuffar, they come into their masjid. Whether the Ash'aris give khutbah in their masajid. They don't care. And they're sakit. Ikhwan, wash your hands with these individuals. They have no concern with the aqeedah of Islam. They have no concern with the aqeedah of Islam, ya ikhwan. Wash your hands with these individuals. I don't care what type of degree they may have. I don't care how long they studied in Medina or Mecca or other than that, or Yemen, or Egypt, wherever they may have studied. Now, wash your hands with these individuals, ya ikhwan. Wash your hands with those individuals. They mean no good to you. They mean no good to you, ya ikhwan. Shaykh Rabi, he goes on and continues and he says, now, so Mu'adh, he says, فَإِيَّاكُمْ وَمَبْتُدِعَ فَإِنَّ مَبْتُدِعَ ضَلَالًا. And beware of that which has been innovated, for verily indeed that which has been innovated is misguidance. And this is similar to the statement of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِيَّاكُمْ وَمُحْدَثَاتُ الْأُمُورِ. Beware of newly invented matters, for indeed every newly invented matter is a bid'ah. Shaykh Rabi, he says, فَكَمَا قُلْنَا هَذَا الْإِمَامَ الْجَلِيلُ الْفَقِيهِ. This imam, this virtuous imam, Mu'adh ibn Jabal, was the most knowledgeable of the companions regarding halal al-haram. قدم هذه النصيحة لهذه الأمة. He gave this advice to this ummah. وحذره من البدع. And he warned them from innovations. And likewise he said, إِنَّ مِنْ وَرَائِكُمْ فِتْنًا يَكْثُرُ فِيهَا الْمَالِ وَيُفْتَحُ فِيهَا. He said, indeed, beyond you is fitn, where wealth will become abundant, and the Quran will be opened up. He says, Shaykh Rabi'a, هذا لا يمكن أن يكون من عندي. He says, so this statement is not possible that it's just from Mu'adh. I mean, it is a must that he must have heard it from Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the one whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends revelation to. Now, and he informs him, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informs him, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, or whatever he wills from the affairs that will come in the mustaqbal, from the affairs of fitn, and from the affairs of trials and tribulations, and from the ashrat al-sa'a, the signs of the sun, other than that. And he says, وَاحْذَرُوا زَيْغَةِ الْحَكِيمِ. And then Mu'adh goes on to say, and beware, when he says, and I caution you from the slips of the Hakim, the one who has been given wisdom, meaning the person of knowledge. And this is important, ikhwan. He said, وَاحْذَرُوا زَيْغَةِ الْحَكِيمِ. And beware of the slips of the one who's been given wisdom, meaning the person of knowledge. This is very important, ikhwan. He says, لأن العصمة بإجماع الأمة. Because infallibility is with what this ummah unites upon. ليست إلا للأنبياء عليهم الصلاة والسلام. It is only for the anbiya, and that which they conveyed from revelation. Now the prophets and messengers, ya ikhwan, they're infallible in that which they conveyed from revelation. Why? Because they conveyed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَلَا يَأْتِيهِ الْبَاطِلُ مِنْ بَيْنِ يَدَيْهِ وَلَا مِنْ خَلْفِهِ. So falsehood doesn't come from in front of it or from behind it. فَيُبَلِّغُونَهُ, and they convey it. وَأَمَّا غَيْرُهُمْ فَلَيْسُوا بِمَعْصُومِينَ. As for other than the prophets and the messengers and that which they convey from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as for other than them, they're not ma'asumeen. They're not infallible. Meaning they're capable of making mistakes. They're not infallible, not from the major or the minor sins. وَلَا مِنَ الْخَطَأ, not from error, not from slips in statements or in actions. لَيْسَ أَحَدٌ مَعْصُومٌ, and there's no one who is infallible. There's no one who is infallible. فَإِذَا رَأَيْتَ عَالِمًا كَبِيرًا وَرِعًا تَقِيًّا زَاهِدًا. So if you find an alim, a great alim, who has piety, taqwa, zuhud, don't say regarding him he's ma'soom. He's infallible. He can't err. You don't say that, ikhwan. This is not from our deen. This is not from the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. وَإِذَا تَبَيْنَ لَكَ مِنْ كَلَامِهِ مَا هُوَ خَطَأ لَا تَتَّبِعُهُ. And if it becomes clear from his kalam, meaning of that particular alim, that which is error, don't follow him in that. لأن هذه زلة. Because this is a zallah, this is a slip. Now, his honor is still preserved. His honor is still preserved. But an alim, he's not followed, and that which is khata. Now, and that what this shows is ikhwan, because we hear this statement of many individuals. They say, all of you act like Shaykh Rabi is ma'asum. Look what is Shaykh Rabi teaching us right here. What is this? What Shaykh Rabi is teaching us right here, hafidhahullah ta'ala. That no one's ma'asum after the anbiya, from that which the anbiya rusul, that which they can convey from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Shaykh Rabi, hafidhahullah ta'ala, he doesn't teach his students that, for us to even say that regarding him. And if it was the case that he did say that, we wouldn't accept that. If he said about himself that he was ma'asum, which he never said about himself. But you find individuals, ya ikhwan, they say, oh, you act like Shaykh Rabi is ma'asum. And the only reason they say this, ikhwan, because what? Because they don't want to accept the jarh of Shaykh Rabi, which is based upon adilla and baraheen. They don't want to accept the criticism of Shaykh Rabi regarding those individuals that they have love for. They don't those personalities that they have love for. And they don't want to let loose. So they come with these statements, Shaykh Rabi is not ma'asum. Look what Shaykh Rabi is teaching us right now, ya ikhwan. Look what Shaykh Rabi is teaching us right in front of us. We just mentioned the kalam of Shaykh Rabi. Hafidhahullah ta'ala. No one's ma'asum. after the prophets and the messengers and that which they relate from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, if you see a great alim, an alim of taqwa, an alim of who has zuhd, don't point to him and say he's ma'asum. He's not. A person is liable to fall into an error, including Shaykh Rabi' himself, hafidhahullah ta'ala. So Shaykh Rabi' doesn't teach us this, ya ikhwan. And you don't find anyone from the Salafis who say that Shaykh Rabi' is ma'asum. If they do say this, bring us the recording. Bring us the recording if you find anyone from amongst who say Shaykh Rabi' is ma'asum, hafidhahullah ta'ala. But again, what is their intention, ya ikhwan? They want to reject the jarh of Shaykh Rabi', which is based upon adillah. From the tapes of this individual, from the writings of this individual, from that which has reached Shaykh Rabi', from the conveyance of those who he deems to be trustworthy. And then Shaykh Rabi', hafidhahullah ta'ala, he studies that and then he issues a ruling upon that individual. Now, so it's based upon what? It's based upon adillah. When Shaykh Rabi' criticizes, it's based upon adillah, ya ikhwan. It's based upon the statements of a person, the recordings of a person, that which has reached Shaykh Rabi' hafidhahullah ta'ala from the naqlat al-thiqat, from the trustworthy. Now, so this is important. So this is what Mu'adh ibn Jabal said, ikhwan, it's important. وَاحْذَرُوا زَيْغَةَ الْحَكِيمِ. Beware of the slips of the one given wisdom, meaning the person of knowledge. Shaykh Rabi', he says, al-Hakim, that which is meant here is al-alim alladhi uti al-hikmah, the scholar who's been given wisdom. Yu'ti al-hikmah man yasha. Allah gives wisdom to whomsoever He wills. Now, who has been given wisdom is given great good. لكنه ليس بمعصوم من الزلل. However, he's not ma'asum and not infallible of making an error. فالحذر من زلات العلماء. So beware the slips of the ulama. وربما تكون زلة العالم خطيرة. And he says perhaps the slip of an alim, of a scholar, can be dangerous. Why? لأنه ينظر إليه بمنظار إجلال وإكبار. Why? Because the alim, he's looked at through the lens of respect and honor, as we should look at the ulama. Through the lens of respect and through the lens of honor. فيجب أن يحذر من هذه الزلات. So it's incumbent that we be cautious from these zallat, these slips. How do we know that it's a slip? Shaykh Rabi', he says. Why? خالف الكتاب والسنة. He opposed the book and the sunnah. فعندنا ميزان. So we have a scale. زل. We have a scale which is the book and the sunnah. The scholar goes outside of that and he slips. أخطأ في حكم الأحكام. Yani he makes a mistake regarding a hukum, a particular ruling from the different rulings. He opposes a text from the book of the Sunnah, the book of Allah, the Sunnah of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in Aqeedah. واجتهد, he makes ijtihad. لكن وقع في خطأ, however he falls into khata, an error, whether it relates to Aqeedah other than that. ما نقول هذا عالم. We don't say, well, this is an alim. This is the imam. This is the imam of this asr. لا. يجب أن نتقي زلته. Rather, we must stay away from his zalla. Rather, we must stay away from his zalla, his mistake. Naam. And inshallah, ikhwan, this is enough for today, inshallah ta'ala. We'll continue bi'idhnillahi ta'ala on Sunday. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
بسم الله. شكر الله لأخينا أنور رايت أبو سهيل. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward our brother and نسأل الله يجعل ذلك في ميزان حسناته ويرفع درجته ويجزل مثوبته ويضاعف فيها. فيا معاشر الإخوة, inshallah, for tomorrow, I know Saturday is probably going to be the busiest, if not the most hectic day, due to the fact that I know Friday is a very hectic day for a lot of the brothers who were working and had to come a little bit of far remote distances to come and attend. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward us and reward you for your efforts for coming, despite of, like we said, the long distances and the long various different schedules that people have that are very tiring and very exhausting and renders one weary. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you tawfiq and also likewise allow you to come and benefit from the other classes that we'll have, and we'll continue, and we will also nastatnif, we will resume tomorrow inshallah 9 o'clock, but inshallah after Maghrib tonight will be the last class. So we pray Maghrib, which comes in actually in 2 minutes. Pray al-Maghrib. Then after that, we'll have the last class. Then we'll shut down and we'll continue. We'll resume everything 9 o'clock tomorrow with our great noble Sheikh Al-Allama, Sheikh Abu Usama, Abdullah ibn Abdul Rahim al-Bukhari. Hafidhullah wa ra'ah. I remember Abu Usama because I remember he was a little kid. When we used to go to his class, he was a little short little kid, Usama. Sheikh Abdullah al-Bukhari's son. But anyway, so inshallah, tomorrow we'll resume, but after Maghrib, tonight will be the last class. Tonight will be the last class, and then we'll resume and start tomorrow, and that will be the very hectic schedule. Not 9 o'clock in the morning. He's talking 2 o'clock. I'm sorry. You reminded me of that. 9 o'clock his time, be Tawqit Mecca. That's 9 o'clock in the evening his time, which will be 2 o'clock this time. Here in America. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm a little bit weary today. 9 o'clock his time is in Mecca, which will be 2 o'clock here. 2 o'clock here, after Dhuhr. No, that's not when class starts. No, that's when we have the telelink. The telelink will be tomorrow, but that's not when class starts. I'm sorry, I apologize. For Fajr, we'll talk inshallah after Maghrib. Bidnillah Jalu Az. But I'm glad everybody came out. Hear me out, right? Anything or any questions, anything I have, inshallah, we'll try to entertain the brothers or anything of what they need. But Jazakumullah khair again for coming out. And also I remind our sisters too, same thing for the children. We're trying to have some organization so the sisters can actually benefit. I know the children usually cause a lot of commotion and they hinder the sisters from benefiting. So we ask the sisters if they can please, there's an actual space that they're directed towards in order to have the children there so they don't cause too much commotion so that they hinder the women from benefiting. And also to remind our sisters, please, during these times, take time for them to benefit instead of socializing. A lot of socializing also likewise takes up a lot of time. We socialize all the time, every day, with a lot of our friends and our people. We need to now take some time out to just focus towards being devoted towards taking knowledge. I think a lot of us, we socialize a lot. Socializing is at the utmost, to its highest apex and peak. So if we could just take some time out, this is directed towards the women again and our sisters. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them tawfiq. Please, we ask them, if you want to socialize with a sister and you have to do it, please do it outside, and please refrain from hindering the other women from benefiting. Please. Like we said, I don't want to be amongst those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first he said in his ayah, مَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى قَالَ رَبِّ لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا قَالَ كَذَلِكَ أَتَتْكَ آيَاتُنَا فَنَسِيتَهَا وَكَذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ تُنْسَى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Taha that for those who turn away from my remembrance, مَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ. Whoever turns away from my remembrance, then he will have ma'ishatan danka. He said he will have a hard life. But the meaning of hard life, a lot of people think it's not having a lot of provisions, a lot of wealth. A hard life is you still getting what you want, but you still are unhappy. Still not content. That's a hard life. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you worldly, mundane things, but you're still not satisfied. That's a hard life to have. Because you're still not happy. So we're telling our sisters, please, when you listen to these ahadith, or you listen to these lectures from our brothers who are taking time out, and you turning away from the remembrance of Allah by socializing and speaking in speech that can wait for another time, then we ask Allah to protect us and protect you, that you have a nasib of this ayah, that we ask Allah that not to be from amongst those who turn away from His remembrance. And we also know the hadith al-Bukhari, which is the Kitab al-Ilm. He's calling either. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. ومن هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة التي محمود والصير فطيل وبعث المقام محمود الذي وعده. Again, brothers, just to remind everyone, especially our sisters, we thank them for coming. But like we said, we try to take advantage of these gatherings and seek knowledge instead of socializing and doing an abundance of socializing, especially in these times. So try to your utmost to put forth effort in seeking ilm, and try to put off a conversation for socializing with your sister at another time. And if it's something that you need to do, that it's a conversation that has to be now indulged in or has to be entertained, then we kindly, generously ask them, with all due respect, to step outside the masjid and do the conversation outside. But we rather prefer that if one, to leave it off and try to take advantage of the time of the ilm trying to devote themselves to knowledge, please. So, like we said again, we don't want to be amongst those who turn away from the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the ayah that we just mentioned, Surah Taha. And also likewise in Kitab al-Ilm, which is in Sahih al-Bukhari, where we know the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ about the men who came close, and he also started seeking knowledge. So he came in a gathering, and the person was taking knowledge, and then there was another person that came, and when that person came, he was shy. He was a shy individual to come close, and then there was another man who was just passing by, and then there was another man who just turned away. So the hadith is in al-Bukhari, Kitab al-Ilm. I remember I was sitting with Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Abbad during the summertime and we went over this hadith. He finished the chapter, he did Kitab al-Ilm during the summers. So we went to the hadith, and the hadith has a lot of benefits in it about trying to be very attentive and seeking knowledge and trying not to socialize and speak side conversations that has nothing to do with the affair at hand. So he said, we know the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, which is like we said in Bukhari, he said the man that drew close, or he start to seek knowledge, and then we had the man, like we said, he was shy. For that man, of course, that drew close and he was actually taking the knowledge, and the hadith as it says in the narration, and the person that was shy, or the person that, start with the first person. The first person that one who came close, and Allah with the Allah that we know, he himself is above the arsh, but it says that he drew close to him. Then you have the person who was shy, and he said Allah was shy from him. Then it says that the person who's coming by, that he was just curious of looking of what was in the ilm, of that which was being disseminated of knowledge. And likewise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likewise gave him a reward just for what? Coming by and also trying to what? See what was going on of the knowledge. And the last person is said, now this is the one of the Mawdi' Shahid, the point of reference in hadith. He says the other one turned away and Allah turned away from him. That's the point I want to mention in the hadith. He turned away and Allah turned away from him. So we ask the sisters not to converse while these knowledge is being disseminated, because we do not want them to have this type of what? This type of if you want to say, somewhat of a if you want to say, a pearl, or something that will be a hindrance for them attaining a reward with these type of gatherings. So that let them be attentive of what is being taught and what is being disseminated and what they are taking of knowledge, so they can attain these rewards that Allah with the others prepared by His mercy coming down upon the people who are seeking it, and also likewise receiving forgiveness from Him for also likewise seeking knowledge. Then a person turns away, they want to socialize and speak about something that has nothing to do with the lesson, rather something that could wait and it could be done at another place, which comes as a result of it, likewise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala turning away from that person. So sisters, please, this is our opportunity, inshallah, to take advantage of this time. And we kindly ask them again to try to keep the children quiet as much as possible. And like we said, the brothers had organized where there's a room where the women could put their children, so they don't cause too much hindrance and too much interference to hinder the sisters from learning in these couple of days that we have. Like I said, it's a short period of time, and we know that the time is elapsing, is passing by very quickly. Time is just passing by. We're in March now, almost in April. So you see how, like we said, time is is moving very quickly. And these little days that we have, can we just put off our side conversations, put off our problems in our lives, our personal issues, to devote towards seeking ilm? Everybody has personal issues. Everybody has personal problems. I don't think there's nobody except Allah has tested them some way or some form of fashion in their life. Everyone. Everybody has problems. But sometimes you got to put your problems to the side and focus on the affair that's in front of you. And stop making it an issue everywhere you go. Not everybody wants to hear about problems every day. Nobody wants to keep hearing about problems. That's America drama. That's some American Jahiliyyah drama that's instilled in our minds. That we always got to keep talking about issues and problems and drama. Sometimes you put it to the side and you devote toward the affair and the issue at hand. Put that to the side for a minute. So now the sisters, we kindly ask them, don't talk about affairs, oh, my husband did this, or my husband did that, or my husband got married again, or you say, oh my goodness, we've been talking about this since the 90s. When are we going to stop? Or my husband divorced me, or my husband gave me a khula, to the end of it. You know how you solve those affairs? What we're doing now. Even though people keep trying to flee away from it, what we're doing now is what's going to solve the issues. Learning the usul of Salafiyya, learning it properly is what's going to solve these matters. So yeah, again, ya ma'ashar al-ikhwa wal-akhawat, again, our sisters, we ask them again, anything they have personal, put it to the side for a minute and devote towards seeking ilm. Put your problems to the side, what's going on in your life, and just focus on ilm. Focus on what? The issue at hand, the affair at hand, which is to what? Which is to learn and try to increase yourself in knowledge. And not only that, but try to attain the rahmah of Allah and the mercy of Allah and the forgiveness of Allah by sitting in these type of gatherings. How much time is left to the Iqamah? We got about 4 minutes. About 4 more minutes. He's right there. It's time now? It is time? Okay. طيب we continue after Salah. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد. Oh, okay. So you don't prove that.